see already the yaw, the left stick, is not zeroed. As I move the stick left, I can get to 100. Move the yaw right, sometimes to 100. Sticks at 11%. Just erroneous. Up and down is fine. Zeroes out every time. As you can see, the right typically or the left stick at different amounts. Sometimes if I let the stick go and kind of do one of these, it will stop like it did there. Kind of odd. Seems like there's something inside the remote that possibly is giving this. The right stick is fine. And we do the gimbal. It's fine. Once again, now it's at 6%. Restart the remote. It's not throwing a fit for some reason now. Very erroneous. The drone does sometimes yaw slightly, as those percentages on the calibration screen show how it's sticking. It might be left, it might be right, and you never know when the remote's going to be beeping, giving you that error. Basically it's calibration error, that constant loud beeping. Again, you can still operate the drone typically. And I'm pulling it straight down. I mean, it's straight down and it's reading 13%. Straight up is 0. Return it, it goes to 4 to the right. There, the left stuck. We're going to get inside the remote and see if there's a wire or something loose or it's broke, debris, who knows. This is a brand new unit. Has one flight on it, maybe two. Again, I can get it to 0, but it just likes to stick. Can't have that. Okay. We'll take the remote controller and I'll fold my antennas. I'm going to flip the unit. What I want to do is, I'm using a 1/16 Allen wrench. Disassemble the 4 screws. For the USB panel cover. Covers off. There's a cable right here you'll need to release. These 2 ribbon cables simply are attached to your C1 and C2 buttons, which we'll leave this board and intact with the bottoms. And no need to really take these two off. We'll just flip the main ribbon cable connector flipper there. We'll grab a pair of tweezers, very delicate, don't damage this. If you can't get in here very well, you could always remove the entire board and pull this straight out. I'm going to choose to try to simply get in behind this and slide it out. I've used these before. There we go. Sort of nice and easy does it. Okay. Again, it could be a little easier if you took these two off, these three screws out, and lifted it up off, attached it, and then laid the board back down, detached it with this board in the vertical position. We'll see how it goes. If I need to take this off later, I can, if I can't get this ribbon cable in, but I have before with these controllers. So now what we have to do is remove these two rubber feet. They're just on with adhesive. Just try to do it as controlled as possible. Look at that. Wouldn't you know it? Alright. I'm going to try to put that adhesive back on there so it can be reused. I'm going to mark this one right here. I'm going to put that over on my right side. This one here. Yeah, loads of fun, isn't it? Put the C2 on this side. They may be interchangeable, who knows? I'll go through that. And then we'll grab these two rubber feet out of these screw holes in the bottom of here. Okay, very good. I'll lay them off to the side if I can get them off my fingers. There's sticky stuff they use there. Transparent adhesive tape, two-sided tape. Okay. We have Phillips screws down inside these holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll need to take those out. Let's see what screwdriver I'm going to use here. Well, the technical screwdrivers weren't working. These screws were in very tight. I had to get an old Faithful here I've had for 20 some years and broke them free. Off camera. I held my remote in my lap to stabilize it so I get good pressure. Last thing you want to do is strip these screws down inside these holes. To be get you in quite a situation there. Strip screw inside these deep wells. Okay. The fourth one loosened up here. I'm going to tip it and see how many I get out. We have one screw still in the unit. Up here it is. I may not have screwed it out the whole way. Okay. Let's see. There it is. Perfect. Alright. Now, grab the bar here. Put my thumb against the base of the antenna. And the same thing on this side. Heard a little pop there. I like to fold it down. You can see the the ribbon cable just slid out the slot there. But what you want to do is bring the bring the bottom of it down in a clamshell away from the antennas, the top down from away from the antennas. You have the battery cable here, which will be in the lower part now. Simply press that tab in and disconnect it. And you have the lower or the bottom removed. Okay. Now we're going to get in here and look at these sticks, which would be, the problem would be this one. You know, I'm looking at this thinking, what's all this glue doing in here? I mean, I guess there's glue on this one too. Just wondering if that glue isn't contributing to some of the sticking going on. That's grease. That's not glue. Let's take a sample of that. I thought it was hot glue, which you'll find inside of the Phantom drones. You'll find a lot of the hot glue. That's actually a lubricant. Okay, my bad. That's a lubricant. I've never seen them lubricated that heavily. Intense. But let's see where we're getting. The spring is intact here. You can see the spring. It's surely intact. It's working. The controller does return to center, or what appears to be center. There's a little bit of a, when I'm moving my right stick over here, it's fine. The good stick. This is the good stick. This is my yaw stick that I'm getting the issues with. This one over here, everything is smooth. This one, when I move it, mostly up and down, I'm feeling it feels like something's loose. It's like a dun 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 dun. Just like I can move the stick for a second and it kind of, I'm going to hold the unit still. See that? There's play in it. I'm wondering if one of these screws isn't quite tight. It's all plastic. You certainly don't want to torque these down too tight. But I'm going to try to tighten these, check them out. It's mostly up and down motion. I'm getting some kind of play in it. The ascend and descend motion. Not so much the left and right. A little bit when I yaw left. I'm feeling a little bit of play there. A little bit of something. Well, it certainly isn't a cable in the way or obstructing that I can tell. Really watching how much force I put on this whole assembly. The last thing we need is to crack something in here and have to do plastic work, which would be, I certainly wouldn't expect to have the remote work properly. And there we go. Let's put this up here. Now, see, that is sort of floating in there as this is spring loaded here, sort of floating there. It appears, I'm going to try, I'm not certain that this end was fully inside of this carrier. This one here, as we had that movement, I'm wondering if the entire assembly wasn't in here too far. Put it down. I might just lift that out. I'm going to flip it over and try to see if I can get this joystick unscrewed. I'm going to take the top of the joystick off here. Let's take that dog off there. So maybe I can pull that out. I get a look at this. We're going to fix this thing one way or another. Silliness. This silliness. Very tight fit. Very tight. There we go. Removed it. Is it broke? Is that broke? That looks broke. That looks broke. That looks broken. Dude, this remote, it looks broken. It might not be. Let me look again here. What are we dealing with? Yeah, it is. This remote was never dropped. It was right out of the box. Never, the sticks weren't ran hard. But it looks like this piece right here, inside the carrier on this side, is broken off. This is broken here. So options would be, do I crazy glue this onto there? Do I do that? Do I send the thing back? They'll probably make me send the entire drone back. Decisions. Yep. That's it. I didn't think the rear carrier was quite holding it properly. The thing about that is, how do I glue it on? I guess it's, I'll have to study this a little bit. As you can see, this right here is indicating the motion. This is indicating the motion on one over here. The rheostat. One on the other side. I'll study this a little bit, but nonetheless, this is certainly broken. Not by me in any way, shape, or form. That was done well before the... Couldn't have possibly be done in shipping either. Maybe... I don't even believe with the design of these that you can overextend the sticks in a way that could happen. So you can see how the unit, this end right here, should be into a carrier bearing like this for smooth operation. This side's broken off, and you can see the remainder of the joystick unit is actually still inside the bearing. Let me check the camera, make sure you can see that still. Right here, the plastic's still inside the bearing. I don't think I'm going to remove it. Maybe I should. Pull it out, glue it on, and stick it in. Or do I just put glue on the joystick unit and stick it on there? That's a decision I'll have to make here. Probably should pull this out, have it marry up to the black plastic on here perfectly with glue, and then put it in. Again, I mean, it's not, there's no pressure, it's easy. It's all in a bearing, very controlled. I don't understand how it's even broken. That doesn't make sense. How's that even happen? Anyway, I think we found the problem. The yaw stick was not showing zeroed out. It would appear to be sticking, etc. We'll get this figured out. Okay, I removed the, I call it a rheostat. It's a, seems like a continuous Okay, we remove this. Let's see if this continues to move 360. Yes. There's not a beginning and end point. It will just be a calibration of what center is when I calibrate the remote. I hope. There shouldn't be a top dead center. There shouldn't be a center point. I can just keep spinning this non-stop. So I don't see how I can get this piece out of here. So it looks like I'm going to have to glue the stick onto that while it's inside of this carrier here, inside the bearing. Hopefully I can eyeball this thing up and get it set in a way that it'll hold well, strong-ish. Let's see here. Yeah, this is going to be tedious. Not something you should have to deal with a brand new unit that has not been abused, dropped, or anything. It's fresh out of the package. Unbelievable. But these are the challenges when you're dealing with DJI, I guess. See what we can do. Let's MacGyver this dog. Yeah, definitely reassembling this unit, putting the screws back in. This thing runs this, I'm calling it a rheostat, whether it is or isn't. Don't bust me here. You know what we're talking about. It's this right here. Call it what you want. And we're going to try to get this stick glued in. I just wanted this thing fixed. I'm going to have to put this back in. I may actually have to remove this. I don't know if I can get this in or not. I think I can. I should have put the stick in before, probably. We'll see. I'm pretty crafty. I think I can weasel this thing through there. But we'll get it in. Yeah, sure I can. So we'll get that thing set in there. We'll find a point to glue it, not move it, and certainly hope we can get this thing working. And then the second challenge would be a calibration to see if it can be calibrated to a 0, 0, 0, 0 position and stay that way. So we get rid of that damn beeping noise. It's killing me. And the drone will fly straight. It won't yaw on its own. See what happens. Stay tuned. Alright. Kind of worried about the lube they use and stuff in here and what the surface is like. So what I'm going to do is use some gum out. I may try some alcohol too. So a little squirt of that on a Q-tip. I'm going to run it on here a little bit light. Set it around there. surface. Wow. Dry that off some. Okay. Same thing for this unit here. We'll put a little bit of that cleaner on that. Clean any oils off of there, hopefully. It's an awful lot of black. I hope I'm not eating the plastic. Oh well. That's just some grease, man. Or whatever, probably from running the sticks with that being loose, man. It's a good thing I cleaned that. Okay. I'll put those dirty Q-tips up there. Okay, next thing what I'm going to do, this ain't going to be on camera because it's be a bunch of tedious crap, but I identified some lines in here. I see one very good line here with a bit of an edge on it. Just trying to match the shape up the best I can in case I can get a nearly perfect match onto this. But I'm going to put this back in, and then I'm going to assemble this top piece here down on it, nearly tighten it, and put the glue in. I'm going to slide the glue in down in here, just a drop or two, and then tighten these screws, make sure these screws are tight, which I already did. I already have made sure these two were down. Again, not over tighten these things. And then we're just going to let it dry and hope that we did a good job and we lined things up or close enough that the sticks will ride centered and we'll be able to do a calibration. Okay, what I decided to do was attach the spring-loaded side here, cover these two screws, take these off for now. I'm going to apply the glue in here. I'm going to apply the glue in here on this surface, put this down. It should match up. I have the brake approximately aligned, so I may move the joystick a little bit just to kind of have it set in. Tighten the screws down and we'll see what happens. Okay, so what we did was attach this end, unscrewed this. I was able to get the carrier bearing and a piece of plastic attached to that. I was exposed, put a little glue on the Q-tip, touched it, mounted it back down in, and then I put an ever so slight drop on top right in this area right there, very small drop, dink, and screwed this down. And now what I'm going to do, I moved the stick slightly left and right one time, and just a little bit, real light, to maybe have it set in. And I'm going to mostly keep it flipped this way rather than have any glue that might be excess go down in. It would just fall to the placemat here. So hopefully we can get this thing calibrated, straightened out. If not, I'll ship it to China and tell them to stick it, buy a new one for hundreds of dollars, whatever. One thing I did find, I tried to link the Phantom 4 GL300C remote to the Advanced, and it would not work. There were no options in firmware to select a different controller. For you guys who are going to tell me that, I think a Phantom 4 Pro remote would work. I was trying to use one of the old Phantom 4 standard remotes, as we have several of those here at our disposal. So I was trying to get one of them to link, but I found that this particular Advanced came with a 300C, but it's a version B. You can see here version B. So that may be the difference. Simply would not link. I could get into the link sequence in the Go4 app, but when I press the button on the aircraft, the advanced, it didn't want any part of it. Nothing. So that's where we're at. Okay, we're going to start sticking this thing back together. Connected the battery. Going to fold this in. We got to make sure these cables right here are routed on the outside of this post over top the battery cover. And we'll make sure this cable right here gets fed down inside this hole to the USB board. Can be a bit of a challenge. It's always best to lay it down like that, take a screwdriver or something. Once you have enough length on it, it'll go down in. What we're going to do is straighten this cable out a little bit so it'll go down through this slot. Okay, push that, the screwdriver, see it pop out the bottom. Remember to have that base on the down on first, and then the top will pop down on. Sure you just press it down, keep it held as you flip it over. These things like to, I'm going to put my antennas down also, don't need any stress on those. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the screws on this first to keep it from moving around. These 4 screws with my 20-year-old screwdriver. These are all plastic screws. You want to try to not over tighten them ever. As soon as you feel it seat, just stop. There we go. One more here. Alright, there's 4 in. Okay, now we're going to need to get this cable back into this slot before we flip down. Make sure that the little locking mechanism, look at that, so fuzz on my tweezers. Make sure the locking mechanism is in the upright position so that it can freely slide in. As this is going to be a challenge. You could take this whole board out to do this, but I'm going to try once again to get this in. If not, we'll take the board out, no big deal. We don't want to damage the cable. So I'm going to bend this back down as I bend it a little bit like that. And we'll slide it down in a little bit. These tweezers here I've used many times to get this in. Now I think I'm going to use these 2 to get underneath it. Push it into the slot like that. There's a white line on here. You want to have that just about, if not right onto the white plastic, just about, to know that it's seated in there. Shove. Yep. I'll fold that back down. There we go. I might test this thing now to see where we're at. We'll start the remote first. And it is beeping, as could be expected possibly because it's not calibrated. So be it. Let's go into DJI Go 4. Enter device, remote, calibration. Oh, it says 19. That's okay. It went back to 19 again. That's kind of a good thing. We're going to calibrate. Say start. The sticks are at midpoint. Okay. Look at that. It went to 0. Hey, that's good. And it stopped beeping. Okay. I'm going to do the right controller first. 100, 100, 100, 100. I'm going to do the gimbal controller. Gimbal left. Or up, down, down, up and down. That's all good. Okay. Now here we go. Our left stick. This is our one. Let's pull it down, up, whoops, left, right. Went to 100 and back to 0. Look at that, guys. Perfect. Down, up, right. It's going back to 0 every time. Awesome. Awesome. Fixed it. Couple drops of super glue. Finish. Alright, she's beat. Now this is red. I don't have aircraft linked, or linked basically to it right now. They're connected, so it's gonna be red. Should be green. Should be green whenever the aircraft is connected. So, but nonetheless, you can see we're at zeros here. I'm gonna turn it off. Back on again. It's not beeping. Back in, look at the remote again. Calibration. I don't have to do the calibration necessarily. I can just move this around to see if it's sticks, left and right sticks at anything other than 0. And it's not. It's doing good. There we go. We should be flying straight. We should have a quiet remote. Awesome. Good deal.